Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
All right, everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Frankly Francisco podcast. Today, I'm very excited. I have, to me, one of the most prominent tourist guides and one of the most prominent foodies on YouTube. He has over, him and his wife, Yali, have over 177,000 followers, subscribers. He is a filmmaker. He is the curator of the Devour tours. I'd like to introduce everybody to James Blick from Spain Revealed. How are we doing today, James?
Cool, man. Doing well. Yeah, it's Friday. So Friday at 4:30 p.m. So, that's good.
Yeah, you know what's amazing is the fact that I'm actually talking to you and you're in Spain right now, which makes things even better. The fact that I can get you on here is very exciting. So I wanted to start off with, you've been doing your channel for about 12 years now. I actually caught your channel about 5 years ago when we were working on actually going to Spain, and we were researching things.
Yeah.
And we seen your channel and you were talking about tapas and Devour tours, which is amazing because I had my doubts. That was on our bucket list to do Spain. Then when I seen your content, I was like, wow, this guy is from New Zealand, but yet he's married to a Spaniard. He's been living in Spain, and he knows better Spanish than I do, which is amazing because I'm Puerto Rican, so my Spanish is not the same as European Spanish.
Yeah.
But for you, what was that spark that made you decide to pick up a camera and show a side of Spain that most people will never get to see in their lifetime?
I mean, I come from a filmmaking background before moving to Spain. I moved here, about 12 years ago now. And in New Zealand, before I moved here, I was a TV commercial director. I also made some short films. And so I had that background. My family works in the film industry. So, that was something I was aware of. When I came to Spain, I fell in love with the country, the food, the culture, the history, and I started working as a tour guide. And, as a tour guide, you're showing people your city and explaining it to them. And then at some point, I don't remember why it was. It just like, hey, I pick up a camera. And I wasn't a YouTube watcher or anything like that. I thought, well, I can pick up a camera and just film a video. It was about a local festival here in Madrid, and my wife filmed it, and I edited it and threw it up on YouTube. And I don't even remember really any of the process. I don't, and that was probably like 9 years ago. I'd probably been here for a few years before I started doing that, or 10 years ago. And I just then I made another video about a pig slaughter, like a traditional pig, like where the family kills the pig once a year and then uses all the meat and stuff like that. And I made that video, uploaded it, edited it, and then sort of forgot about it, and then checked it sometime later, and it was like, oh wow, this video is actually getting a lot of views. And I think that propelled me a little bit or a lot to start to say, okay, well, this is something I enjoy, making videos, helping people understand. But with a tour guide, you're only doing it for the group in front of you. With YouTube, you're doing it for like whoever can connect to the internet and is curious enough to watch. So I just started making more, and I've only really, really dedicated myself to the channel for the past, say, 3 years or so. It was very off and on. I went some years making 1 video, 2 videos, because I was very busy building my food tour business, Devour Tours. So it wasn't my main focus. But in about maybe 1999, geez, not that long ago, there was no YouTube then. In about maybe 2019, I was like, hey, this is something I want to dedicate more time to. So I started trying to get out, a couple of videos a month or thereabouts. And then, just trying to always do better, make better videos. I branched out. It's not all just about food now, though that still is a big focus. And looking to branch out more this year, Spanish culture, work with a great editor. So no, it's cool.
Yeah, you have really opened my eyes to Spain. So, I had my doubts about going over there because, it's part of our history. Spain is part of the motherland. I'm Puerto Rican, so there's a lot of bad blood when it comes to Puerto Rican and Spain. But the way you show the culture, the way you go to these towns and show the history about the Moors and the Jewish people that were there as well, you do it in such a calming way. It makes people think, there's so much history there, and you're showing us things that I wouldn't normally see. a lot of people don't go into depth like you have going to these Spanish towns. A lot of people have never heard of. Yes, everybody's going to hear about Barcelona or Madrid, you know, Catalonia. Everybody's going to hear about those, but you go to the smaller places where the history is so rich there, but people don't know, and you bring that to life in such a way. It makes me want to go there. Like the one of the last videos I just seen you was the onion festival. I'm
Yeah.
like, they make these onions look so incredible. I'm like, I want to go out there and try that. I would have never heard about it unless
Yeah.
you would have did a video about it.
Yeah. And I think more and more, I've kind of, not that I've done all the videos you can do about Madrid, but at some point, I've got a lot of content on Madrid because I live here. But there is so much that I can cover in this country. It's like the list of video ideas is endless. And I think for me, I more and more have a passion to show the parts of Spain that people might not otherwise see for a whole bunch of reasons. One, there's some fascinating stuff that happens in this country. Two, it's areas that maybe could do with a few more tourists, and three, there's tourists such as yourself who are curious to see, go beyond the typical and experience it. And if I can maybe show it's approachable, something you could do, then I think that's exciting. I really find that really gratifying, that approach. So yeah, expect to see more and more kind of off the beaten path stuff, as I keep making videos.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. My only hesitation was going to Spain is, the colorism issue, because
Mm.
Spain is Europe, part of Europe,
Yeah.
and me being darker, there's going to be, even though I speak Spanish, there's going to be some, I never knew if there was going to be tension. But
Mm.
when you speak to these people in different parts of town, they seem to be very friendly, very open to talking to people. Sometimes I think, Spain gets a bad rap, about its colorism and its racism, but you go to the off the beaten path areas where it just doesn't seem to be there because you're all around. You're not just going to one place in Spain, you're going all over the country.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate because it just makes me want to go out there more now. I always wanted to live and work in Spain for a little while to get the experience of living out there. And I know it's hard. I've seen your videos about moving to Spain and all the bureaucracy that you have to go through. Listen, you're my guide for this stuff. I'm really into those videos and I re-listen to what you have to say. I seen the video about you about buying a home, which
Yeah.
can get really, really complicated out there. So renting would probably be the best option if I was only going to live out there for a little while.
Yeah.
Now for you, Devour Tours, this thing has taken off for you in such a way that I don't think you even expected it. During the pandemic, what was the hardest part for you since tourism was down? How did you survive it? How did you survive it and how is it thriving now?
Well, yeah, the pandemic was, like it hit everyone. It happened really quickly. One day you're making plans, and the next day you're trying to figure out, how to keep staff on or how to keep engaged with your audience. We did the whole online thing, online cooking classes, stuff like that. But they don't really make any meaningful money. Those kind of classes, or they didn't for us anyway. It was more just keeping engaged and keeping some of the team engaged, keeping the people who wanted to travel to Spain engaged. Yeah, Devour Tours just like grew. We started that about 10 years ago, offering food tours in Madrid. I was the guide at night. My business partner was the guide during the day. And then, you start working with another guide and it grows. Then we started in Barcelona. And it just grew from there. And the pandemic was really tough. Personally for me, because we didn't have a lot of work, I started looking into and realizing a lot of my audience was interested in relocating to Spain. And I'd always sort of thought as my audience as like tourists to Spain. But I saw a lot of people who were like looking to move to Spain, particularly a lot of people from the States, and would, watch the channel for inspiration or just, they're planning to move in 5 years when they retire. Of course, you're going to watch a channel about traveling around the country that you love, right? That you want to live in. So I built a course. I designed an online course called the Move to Spain Masterclass, which I offer 3 times a year that helps people relocate to Spain. It offers gives you the roadmap and all the tools and knowledge you need to move over here. And then with Devour Tours, we came back, the pandemic kind of was starting to get better and it came back really strong. At that point, I had a baby. Well, my wife had the baby, but I became a parent. And yeah, it was an interesting pandemic for me. And my wife became, and I became a parent. My business partner, she'd become a mother. She'd had kids. And so we actually sold the business end of 2020. Hang on, what are we now? End of 2021. And I was still working in it for a while, doing part-time. She's still running it. It's still exactly the same. It's just we're not the owners anymore, though we're still involved. And now, but for me, becoming a father post-pandemic with the course and the desire really to give the YouTube channel the energy that I wanted to give it, I realized I couldn't do everything. So this opportunity came up to step back from the day-to-day of Devour tours. And it's funny because I'm not in the day-to-day now, and sometimes I look at it, it's like, oh my God, Devour's open tour. I mean, Devour has tours in the US now, you know? And so it's the biggest food tour brand, in a sense, probably in the world. And so, you know, they got tours all over Europe, and we started those. You know, we were running tours in France and Italy and Portugal before the pandemic. But yeah, and you know, looking at other parts of South America, I think as well. So it's pretty surreal to think you were just offering a tapas tour in Madrid 10 years ago, and now you look at it like that. No, it's kind of, you know, I don't think about it that much, to be honest, but it's cool now that I think about it. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that you've been able to dedicate full time now to the YouTube channel. I mean, you get tens of thousands of viewers on your videos. I mean, your videos are well done, and the chemistry. Even though I know you're married, you and Yali are married, but the chemistry you guys have together on camera is amazing. Just the banter you guys have back and forth, and then she has her own passions with flamingo as well, that a lot of people know about, and that's one of her passions. And I've seen videos where you could see it in her eyes while she's watching the performance, and she's totally involved in it. It's a beautiful thing to see, because that's how you know it's not just something random. It's something that she's very, very passionate about, and something that she thrives on.
Yeah.
Which, with the both of you being parents now, congratulations, by the way. It's amazing, because now you get to take your child on you when you go on these tours, and you look at these places, and she gets to grow up with that. She gets to see that. And at first, I know you didn't have her on camera, but you have her on camera now. But Yali's amazing. She knows when to take her off to the side to, you know, lay her to sleep. I know she's missing out on some of the things that you're doing, but as your daughter gets older, she'll be able to join more. But I think you two do an amazing job to balance that, because you still have to work, but she still has to be a mom as well.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I'm the guy who's always filming, so you know, it's not like I can hand the camera to Yoli and say, hey, I'm going to go off and take Luthia for a nap. So it's Yoli gets tasked with that always, and I'll keep going on my own and go and have a vermouth or something in front of the camera. But yeah, it's hard. And, you know, I try not to. We realized early on, we were like, we don't want to film her. We realized early on it was impossible to do a trip with her and for her to not be in some of the shots. It was just impossible because she's in Yoli's arms or whatever it is. So what we really do now is, it's important for us not, you know, there's some YouTube channels that they become parents and they kind of pivot into sort of family travel. That's not really our bag. You know, we don't focus on, I never try and do any close-ups of Luthia, or really focus on her. It's just like, yeah, she's there, but you know, we can't cut her out, you know, and it would be impossible to say, go and stand out a shot for a while, particularly with the wide lenses I use while we eat this paella, you know? So that's just kind of like the reality of it. And, you know, obviously as she grows up, she'll have her own opinions about what she wants or doesn't want, and we'll respect that. So it is challenging, you know. I guess if you're a family channel, it's less challenging maybe, because the child is a part of it, but we're trying to do it without the child being really a big part of it. And it does make travel and making those videos, it makes them a little stressful at times. And our job is not to look stressed on camera. But we do it, and yeah, I think we just go with it, and it works out all right. I mean, I make more videos also with other people, with collaborators, or on my own and things like that. And that's been an important little pivot, which, you know, some people miss. It's like, you know, I'll get a comment sometimes like, I miss Yoli, you know, where's Yoli? She's the real star. And it's like, well, she'll be back. Don't worry. She'll be back. She's too expensive. I can't have her in every video.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I just think the dynamic you two have is great for the channel, and I think it brings a lot of people in that wants to see, because I mean, to me, I would love to have my wife be able to help me with, you know, with my podcast, but I mean, we have 5 kids. It's you know, I work full. Yeah,
you know what it's like then.
Oh yeah, 4 boys, 1 girl, 3 teenagers. So it gets tough. It gets tough, and she's working part-time. I'm full-time. And, you know, I work in finance, so I'm dealing with, you know, people who are worth millions of dollars on a daily basis.
Mm.
Then I come try to do this, and you know, I would love to do this full time like you're doing your channel, but
Yeah.
reality has it, you know, for everybody, it's not going to be that way. So I keep
Yeah.
my regular job because I know I have to pay bills.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've gotten to the point where you can dedicate full time to your channels is fantastic. It's a fantastic accomplishment because not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah. No, it's just sort of it's evolved over time, I think. In a way, I'm fortunate to be, you know, a big fish in a small pond. You know, if I was in the States, for example, where everybody's got a podcast and everybody's trying to do their thing, it's like just by being who I am in Spain has kind of with the experience, the interest I have provides me with a little bit of a niche, you know, that I can build a business out of. And so I feel, you know, fortunate for that I just kind of got here. Yeah, I'm surprised there's not more big, you know, some of the YouTubers I follow, English speaking YouTubers are in Japan, and there's a lot of big YouTubers in Japan, but in Spain there's not really, you know, and actually in France there's more in France, but and I don't know about Italy, but it's interesting that you know, there are some channels, there's more and more people on social media, on Instagram and TikTok, you know, foreigners who are doing sort of Spain content in English, but on YouTube not as much, which I mean, when you're the only one, on sometimes it's a bit lonely, but other times it also means like everybody's going to find you at some point if they're interested, which is quite good, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, I've seen other channels. There's another gentleman that's an English speaking. He lives in Spain as well. He does
Is
English
it
speaking.
Stuart, Spain Speaks?
Yeah, Spain
Yeah,
speaks. But your channel, I watch religiously. Like it's, I don't even. I honestly, to be honest with you, I don't even go. I don't subscribe to his channel. Your
yeah.
channel's the one that I focus on because I don't know. It's so well put together. The
Mm.
videography, the sound, the way you things are edited. So I'm sure you have a good team that helps you get all that stuff
Yeah,
together.
I got a great editor. Yeah,
Yeah, I would, you know, I'm not there yet. You know, I have to do everything myself. You know, I'm cutting
yeah,
everything in Windows and, you know, trying to trying to put
yeah,
everything on YouTube myself. But at some point, you have to have a team around you that's going to help you be successful. And I think that's
yeah,
why people are drawn to your channel because not only is the content relevant, but it's just the way it looks, the clarity
yeah,
of it, the sound of it, the way it's edited. It's a fantastic job that you do. And these videos now are like 25 minutes, 20 minutes long. They're not 5 or 6 minutes long. You're putting together like almost half-hour videos, and
yeah.
people are spending their time watching it. I mean, you're getting 30,000 views on these videos, which is fantastic.
Yeah. No, it's going well, and yeah, I mean, it's impossible to do. At some point, I decided. I mean, I kind of like editing. I enjoy the process, but at some point, I had to get help with it. You know, a number of years ago because it was just impossible to keep up. And you know, I had other focuses, and that's always the challenge with anything like this is when that moment is to get help, because obviously getting help costs money, and so you have to kind of make a bet that, okay, this is working, but if I'm earning some money from it, if I could spend more time doing it because I can get help with this other thing, then I would earn more money to pay for that, getting that help. And that's always a hard equation to make, and you have to kind of like do it bit by bit, you know, because otherwise you can get yourself into trouble pretty quickly, you know, by hiring a team. But yeah, you know, I'm a bad delegator. You know, I like to try and do everything myself. So I have to push back against that instinct. So currently at the moment, you know, I have a virtual assistant who helps me just on a freelance basis with some of the stuff around the webinars I offer. I offer webinars about moving to Spain and the course, and the editor, and you know, I'm trying to kind of be a little bit more proactive about, say, where could I get some help? But I'm always a bit nervous that, you know, where am I going to cross the line? It's like, hang on, I'm spending all my money that I earn
Right.
hiring people, and there's nothing left for me, you know. So it's a hard balance, but you got to be a little bit aggressive, I think, in that way, because it can be very easy to be like, oh, I could never get someone to do that, you know.
Listen, I still remember from where you are, where you were to where you are now, when you were under a sheet editing your voiceover because the voiceover had messed up and you had to take care of it, to where
Yeah,
you are now. So listen, it's an accomplishment. Just, you know, you should be proud of yourself for how far you've come and where you are now as a channel, and you're continuously growing. I think it was 2 weeks ago you were at 176, and then I look at it this week and you're 177. So
yeah,
the subscribers are coming. And
yeah,
tell me about the you have a exclusive sign up for the fans, correct? That
yeah.
you come out with content before it comes out on YouTube.
Yeah, so I have you know, on YouTube you can have memberships, which is a little like Patreon. I think people know Patreon quite well. I don't do Patreon. I do it through YouTube. So you can become a member. And there's a couple of tiers. There's one that's, well, I used to have 2 tiers. I used to have there's 3 tiers actually. It's like a $4.99, a $9.99 a month, and then there's like a real expense. They always say have the diamond tier. So then there's like the $39.99 where you get like once every 6 months we jump on a call. And that members, what I do is I release the videos when they're available early, and usually they're available a couple days. I've got them ready a couple days before the Sunday when I release them. So I release them without ads for the members. So they get first look, but they also get to watch it without any advertising, which I think is kind of, advertising on YouTube is like it's a part of how we pay for the videos. But I think it's nice for them to be able to just have that experience of just being able to sit down and watch it. And then also I do like a live stream once a month where we just kind of get on and chat and hang out and I talk about what's going on with the channel, what's going on in Spain. And that's cool. There's kind of a core crew. It's funny, there's 100 odd members or whatever, and everybody could turn up, but it's very few people turn up. I think a lot of people just are happy to support the channel. And almost don't even feel the need to like turn up to a live stream. They're like, hey, I'm busy, I don't want to do that, but I'd love to support you. So yeah, no, the memberships works out well, and it's a cool little crew that we have that hang out, and I appreciate the people's support. And the idea that people would give me a few bucks a month to kind of help out is like, wow, that's amazing.
Well, when you supply content the way you're doing, and it brings meaning to people, like it does me, it brings meaning to me, because it's giving me a side of Spain that I thought I would never ever get a chance to see. Not just the tourism side, but the small towns, the little principalities that are out there.
Yeah.
It's great. So for you, so far now that you're full time and you're not dealing with Devour tours as much anymore, what has been the biggest pain point for you so far with continuing to develop Spain Revealed, the YouTube channel?
I think, because I've spent a lot of the history of the channel making food tour, tapas tour videos where I just go to a bunch of places and eat the food. And at some point, I've gotten not bored of those, but it's like I want to do broader content. I want to, my interest in Spain goes much beyond the food. It's the history, the culture. And I've always done non-food related videos. But I think trying to kind of expand the type of videos that I do, but also the food tour videos always do really well successfully. People want to watch them, and people watch them over time because they help them plan their trips. So trying to do videos that are like satisfying for me and that are showing maybe the lesser known parts of Spain, but that are also financially viable. In the end, when you have an editor who's spending a lot of time making the videos and you have all this stuff going on, each video is kind of its own production in terms of travel, in terms of the money it costs to kind of get it out. So if my videos are hyper niche, it doesn't become viable. Nor do I want every video to be like, clickbait, like, about Spain. So it's trying to find that little area where there's enough people watching that it's viable, but it's also the kind of stuff I want to talk about. And that's something, I had a video, the last video has done really well about, I was a little anxious about making it. It's about 12 things I hate about Spain.
Yes.
And I knew it would do well. And it's like the most successful video I've ever made. It's like, and then at the beginning of the year, I did a video where I went vegan in Spain for a week, and that was a total disaster. So like nobody watched that video. So apart from like the hardcore fans. So it's trying to get like my radar on point. I mean, it's like podcasts, it's like, how can I create something I'm interested in, but people actually want to watch? Because like I kind of want people to see it, and I need people to see it. It's like main driver of my business, the YouTube channel. So trying to find that little kind of that sweet spot. That's something I'm working on. The editor I work with is really helpful because he is not just helping like after the fact edit the videos, but he does the thumbnails. I work with him on the ideas, like, hey, this is I think what my intro will be. He was like, why don't you tweak it like that? Or maybe the idea is more like this. So I've got a collaborator there because what we've realized and what is the reality is that a video's success in terms of getting a lot of views is 50% concept, 25% title and thumbnail, 25% actual video. So I've spent 9 years working really hard on the video, but maybe not being as aware as I go into a concept of like, do people want to see this? Can I capture people's imagination with this idea? And so I'm trying to focus more on that. So it's the video success is less kind of up and down. And it's more, we're making some videos that are building the audience and doing well. So I think that's kind of where I'm at creatively, and that's why I'm trying to get the support in the other areas of the business, because that requires a lot of headspace to really, really. I mean, a video when it is good looks really simple, but there's a lot of work that goes in of like, should it be more like this or more like that, or thumbnail and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'm just learning. I'm just really learning how to deal with YouTube. It was never like I have 100 subscribers right now,
Yeah,
and it's one of those things where my videos are not. I'm a podcast, so
yeah,
some of these podcasters, their setup is elaborate. I'm talking to you from my house. You know what I mean? Some of these
totally.
podcasts have elaborate studios, visuals, and all that. Listen, I'm basic right now because I've been only doing this for a while,
Yeah,
like 2.5 years.
yeah,
And you're correct with my podcast. Some of my episodes, the highest episode I've ever had was like 700 downloads, and
yeah,
then my lowest episode was like 12 downloads. But it all depends, and then it fluctuates in between. So I know exactly what you're saying. You're trying to get the pulse of what's going to work with consistency when it comes to your channel. And I think sometimes that's the hardest thing, because you may find it interesting, but your
yeah,
audience is going to go, "Yeah, I'm good on that."
yeah, yeah. I realize people don't think about veganism and they come to Spain to eat ham, not to not eat ham. So,
Yeah.
you know, and so, but with every video, when it's like shooting a target, if you hit or miss, you learn something, and you kind of refine your sights a little bit. You'll still have hits and misses, but when you look at certain channels that have a consistent, hit rate on their videos, every video hits 1 million, or every video hits 50,000, whatever it is, but it's consistent. You know that they have zeroed in on their audience and they understand their audience really well. And I think that's the key. It's like, what do they want to see? And hopefully it grows over time, but you're hitting that consistently. So I'm excited with that challenge of trying to really get that consistency going this year.
So do you have any big projects in the works for you that anything that's coming out, any books, anything that you're working on right now that you can give a little sneak peek if or when it's coming out, what to look for?
I wish I had more projects on the go. I mean, something I've started doing is I have this course for people who want to move to Spain, but I can only fit about 120 people in that a year across 3 different cohorts. But there's a lot of people who want to move to Spain who want information. So I'm running like a webinar series. Like every month I have a free webinar. And so, if you find, I mean, the best way, I can pass you a link, maybe Francisco, to put in your things, people can subscribe to the newsletter, and I'll announce, we ran one about the digital nomad visa recently. We've got another one, got another one coming about investing for expats in Spain, anything that's kind of interesting. So I'm running these free webinars, which I'm enjoying, I'm sharing that knowledge just with whoever wants to come and watch with experts, and invite an expert each time. Could be a podcast as well, now that I think about it. So, but podcast is my blind spot. I don't know anything about podcasting. So you'll have to teach me. But that's coming on. I'd like to do a Barcelona. I have a Madrid guidebook called Madrid Revealed, like a city guide. I'd like to do a Barcelona version. For that, I'd need to collaborate with someone, with a real local, because I'm just, I know Barcelona, but not enough to do that. So I'm looking at trying to figure that out. That would be cool to do. So yeah, a few things in the pipeline, but it's always but also trying to spend more time with my family. I've worked really hard for the last 10 years. So getting in this help is also saying, after this call, normally I'd work through, it'll be 5 o'clock. Normally I'd work through till 6:30, but I'm going to take off at 5 and go off with my daughter, and I'm making burgers tonight. So I'm going to go and get all the stuff for that with her, and, just stuff like that.
It's amazing when you've given tours the rest of the supermarkets there. It's amazing how cheap certain food is and how expensive certain food is. But ham is like the end all be all in Spain. I mean, every restaurant, every tapas bar, everywhere has ham. What is the obsession with pork in Spain?
I mean, they say that maybe it comes from the Spanish Inquisition, that, by eating pork was a way to publicly show that you weren't Jewish or Muslim. Now, I think there might be something in that. Sometimes these stories are obviously not as, the real history is not as simple as like the modern kind of version of the story. But certainly at a time in Spain when there was a lot of suspicion about, were you Catholic or were you not, or were you a practicing Jew, or were you Muslim, but secretly, because you had been kicked out if you weren't practicing in secret. There was, I'm sure, periods with a lot of suspicion, and so anything you could do to say like, hey, I eat pork, so I'm Catholic, then they say that's part of it, but also it must relate to the reality of a lot of Spain. The north has cattle; they have cows up there because it's green. But in a lot of the rest of the country, like it's not cattle farming country, and so pigs, pigs will eat a bit of anything. I mean, there's probably pig farmers watching this thinking, "Oh my god," but that's not true. That's an oversimplification. But pigs are easier to raise in the
Yeah.
kind of the environment that we have here. So I'm sure that's a part of it as well.
What I would love though, that I'm not even gonna lie to you, the one collab that I would love to see you do is with Sunnyside.
Oh
Um,
yeah, hang
that
on.
I
Who's
would.
Sunnyside? I don't know who's
So
Sunnyside.
Sunny from uh my brain is see, my brain just went into um just got foggy for a minute. He runs a YouTube channel and he goes all over the place and does these food tours
Cool.
where he eats local food. You would be able to show him all the places where he would be able to eat and off the beaten path places. Best reviewed food show ever. That's the name of the
Really?
channel. Yeah, he's huge on YouTube. He's got
I think I know the guy. Is
subscribers.
that the guy with the bandana?
The guy with the bandana, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
He
would be a
pops
great
up.
collab for you to
That would
you and
be
him to
cool.
hook up.
Everything
Yeah,
he does seems very extreme. So it's
yeah,
always like the
yeah.
biggest.
Right. He's a funny dude, but I think the chemistry would work well between because he's excitable and you're the calming force that would
Oh, you
like
think I'm coming? Oh, that's
yo
good.
yeah
Yeah.
you're like the quiet when I see you on channel you're like the quiet storm. You're like it's
Yeah.
but you do it in such a way where it makes me excited to go. I want to go to Spain
Yeah.
and I want to eat those foods and try those things that you're trying. But I think it's the presentation. I think it's the way you present it. You don't get too high or too low.
Yeah.
And I think that helps because sometimes if people get too excitable, it turns people off. Or
Yeah.
if you're too dull, you have a good, to me, you have a good balance on how you present everything you do on your channel, which is because you're funny. You have good chemistry with your wife. You have good chemistry with the actual people as well.
Yeah.
And then your Spanish accent when you speak in Spanish is like the local Spanish. Like I don't have the lisp when I speak
Thank
Spanish
you.
because I speak a American type Spanish. It's
Yeah.
it's a New York Spanish because I was born in New York City. Your
Mm.
Spanish is a proper Spanish that you speak. We don't. So there's certain words that when you say it, and I go, what? What does that even
Yeah.
mean? And then I have
Yeah.
to look it up, and then this is the way I say this word.
Yeah.
So it's
I mean, it's all proper Spanish. There's no one better than the other. But yeah, I have learned. It's funny when you'll meet a guy and his girlfriend's like Argentinian, and he'll speak Argentinian. It's funny how you learn the Spanish of like you meet the girl, or you meet the guy, or whatever, and you learn that Spanish. And so yeah, I'm trying to do more interaction with locals in the videos as well, less like from the outside in, but more like bringing people in. So more including in the videos, more conversations that I have with locals, and they're the people who have the stories to tell, more interesting than me. I think the video started off a lot more of me to camera, but I'm trying to now make it a little more immersive and just like POV and kind of like taking people in and letting letting the locals speak as much as possible.
Yeah,
As long as they say the right thing.
yeah. Like
As
when
long
you
as
were
they say what I want to say.
yeah, like when you were asking the locals if do you think that people who've been in Spain for umpteenth years should be able to vote? And you
Yeah.
you got your answers was yes, they believe that they should.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of interactions I think people are gonna value too, because like you said, it's just not you in front of the camera, it's you actually interacting with people, and I think
Yeah.
that's what draw people in when they see that. Listen, you're not afraid to talk to the locals, and it's just not about you and the camera. It's
Yeah.
about you giving an immersive experience of everything that includes the people that are around you in the towns that you go to. It's I think it's gonna bode well for the channel. It's gonna continue to grow it. So
Totally.
where can people find you? Let everybody know where they can find the channel. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media, where they can sign up.
Cool. I mean, to find me on YouTube, just put in Spain Revealed. That's the best way. Just search that. Spain Revealed is the name of the channel. On social media, because I didn't have Spain Revealed, I do have those handles, but I just use James Blick Spain. My name Spain across the board. So James Blick Spain on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. I'm have been doing some TikToks. And what else? I have a Facebook community for people who are there's about 6,000 or 7,000 people in there who are looking to get tips for travel to Spain and stuff like that. That's a Spain Revealed community. And those are really the key areas. I'll give you a link if you've got a link there for your notes for newsletter if people want to sign up for that. And hear about the webinars. And yeah, I mean those are the key areas really.
So fantastic, James. It has been an absolute pleasure. You have been, one of my best guests that's been on the show. Thank you for
I
taking
bet
the
you say
time.
that to all the guests, Francisco.
No, honestly, you've been
I'm going to check the other podcasts. To
you
find
by all
out.
means go ahead and check the other pack. You've been one of my best guests, and I can say you've been one of my best guests. You've taken the time out of your busy schedule to sit down and have a conversation with me, which is, it's fantastic, and I appreciate. Because, like I said, a lot of people in your position, they don't talk to smaller podcasters or people who are up and coming,
Sure.
but you did. So that just, to me, that just brings more value to you, that you were willing to do that. So I thank you. So I'm going to leave you with what I leave everybody. No matter what anybody tells you, if you found your purpose, live it. Thank you, folks. We'll talk to you later.